Okay. We don't have any shovels. Hopefully we get some on our way here. Protect the bull. 28 seconds to protect the bull. Are you crazy? It's not nearly enough time to protect the bull. So the most important thing we can do is roam around and make sure that the VIP NPCs are up and ready to go. We don't want them down, because then we will lose the fortress. That's not good. We don't want that to happen. So rotate we will. And chest train we must. So right now, Marcel is down. Mancel is down. They're there. Let's go res them. Revive! We must revive the NPC. Right. Reviving the NPC, continue to move on here. We are not going to do this nearly as efficiently as some other commanders. Neither the chest train or the RIBA itself. But nobody's commanding. It's a lot better if somebody knows what they're doing, keeps everyone together, keeps things simple. Cool. Number 2. Let's keep moving. So I'm only really here for Imperial fragments. I only care about being able to clean up my inventory across all the characters. Loot? No loot. Looks like everything's good here. Let's keep rotating. We've been so determined towards our own individual grind that we have neglected entirely Super Adventure Box, and it is one of my favorite times of the year. You just ain't got time for that. We have other things to accomplish. Aurora is a pain. A big pain. Looks like we lost one here. This is painful, actually. Oh no, are we dead? I'm doing my best not to be dead here. It hurts though. Kite the enemies outside so I can survive long enough to go back in I'm pretty stubborn when it comes to meta. In metas that require like large groups of people, I'm happy to do them solo if possible. And by solo if possible, I mean higher APM, no big deal. But not everything is like, you know, possibly cleared solo, so there's also that. We do require damage in order to manage the game state. And being full minstrels is not the most productive thing when trying to clear enemies. And giant mobs that stack poison are almost like impossible for me to withstand if they're in the 20s. 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 though? Gets a little tough. Okay, so let's clear this up. Get this back to 4-4 and continue to rotate out.
Now this is fine. I'm 6 feet tall.
I am chilled.
Fired up.
Okay. Looks good. This is a very old meta, so people know what they're doing. I feel like they don't need to be micromanaged, even though there's a more like efficient way to do this. As long as somebody's making sure everybody stays alive, and this should go smoothly. Don't know how many people we have on the map trying to do this. Don't need that many, but we definitely need people to fill the lanes after the breach.
Ready to rock. Back on solid ground. Inferno!
Okay. Carry on, we carry on. We're gonna be doing Living World Season what? Not sure. Osa is down. Not good. Do we res Osa first? Yes, we do. Which means we have to clear this. It's a lot of damage. Nice. Once more with feeling, shall we? So as people continue to join, all we need is everybody to be rotating counterclockwise. And eventually what will happen is all of the locations will stabilize. Red, indigo, blue, amber. And then we get to see the breach. To the breach we go. For now, we are forced to rotate through and clear these up. Which is fine.
will now begin.
Any more, or is it center? It's like one tendril out the door. There we go. After this, we were going to be running Living World Season 3 for Aurora. It's not the achievements yet. It is the actual just story to complete it, so we can go back and backtracking through the achievements.
Help infuriate. Turn up the heat. Fired up.
All right. Looks pretty good in here.
Back on solid ground. Exhilarating.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time like thinking about coffee and how important it is. Like having coffee to wake up is a very interesting thing because I think it's adenosine. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But there's something in coffee that like tricks the brain into feeling more awake. And so I've had a couple conversations with some very productive people that I know just about caffeine, and some of them do and some of them don't. And one of the counterpoints was like, do you know what caffeine actually does in the body? And I said, yes, but please explain it to me. So they went on to explain about adenosine. And maybe I really, really like coffee, but I feel dreadful without it. And yeah, maybe like weaning from coffee and quitting for like a month to see how I feel might be a good option. I'd rather get in the habit of exercising. Excuse me. Big sneeze. Then stay addicted to caffeine. Feels kind of sad, to be honest. Feels sad. This looks good. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Carry on. Carry on. We have great coffee, but we also have instant coffee, kind of bad coffee. Now, the instant coffee, bad coffee is the coffee we're drinking. The good coffee we save for when multiple people get to enjoy the coffee, not just me. Because good coffee is expensive. Unfortunately, pricey coffee is pricey. Continue, continue, continue. Carry on, my wayward son. 4434. You'd like to see that be 4444. Ooh, a war claw. I forget how busted mounts can be. We are missing 3 mounts on the alt, 2 mounts on the main, and also, to be fair, it's more like 4 mounts on the alt. Should we heal this dude? This bull looking kind of thirsty. Now that we have some people in our squad, we can swap to staff. Big heals. In a full squad, it's somewhere around like 30k heals per second in big events, which is great. Not that I have ARC installed, not that I have an ARC, you know, active, whatever. I find ARC kind of annoying. Kind of like in Warframe, starting to just get used to not having damage numbers. And as long as everything is playtested to be good damage, I don't need to see the numbers. It kind of clutters up my screen. Everything is looking good. Yeah, Warclaw's busted, and I haven't done whatever it takes to make the Warclaw like viable and super busted. I don't know what that is. So technically then, in terms of functionality, we are missing... Ooh,
Is that all you've got?
two here. Technically we're missing 4 mounts on the alt and 3 mounts on the main.
Ready to rock. Back on solid ground. Eye of the storm.
Alright, looks good. Actually, who's the VIP here? Sounds good. That should be enough. Keep on rotating. Rotating, rotating, rotating. I'm also going Instacast lately. I miss it. Pretty soon we are going to be benchmarking, and I am looking forward to that actually, which sounds insane. But I haven't benchmarked for like three years or so, and so it's going to be fun to actually get back into the habit of doing that. With a much less of a burden than we had before. And that also came from a great conversation with Buddy. Out of insecurity early on in raids, I decided to flex through everything possible, which means all viable supports, and power and condi variations of every class, at least to 75%. Some had more, some had less. And then after kind of excelling at DPS, we then eventually put ourselves in a position to join a couple statics as off-tank, back when Chrono was the be-all end-all alpha tank in the game, and if you weren't tanking on the Chrono, you were memeing. Now it's not really the case. So we don't really know exactly what raids feel like, necessarily, although we've done some raid training since we've returned. What I can say is that raids are a lot more empty now than they used to be. Thanks for pitching in. I want to help him. I want to help him just because. I want to hear him say it. My favorite voice line, Interior.
Thanks for pitching in.
Thanks for pitching in. You're welcome, bruh. Yeah, raids are hard, and it makes sense that they're kind of underpopulated content. But, you know, having the experience that I had, now to be kind of like this scuffed thing. I mean, I don't give myself enough credit for sure, but it's good to have high standards. It's just not great to have like suffocating, stifling standards that don't really produce results. We want progress, not perfection. And as we are progressing through this wicked ambition that we've set up for ourselves regarding these 4 legendaries, one of the things that we're going to have to do is develop a comprehension of the current meta DPS classes, but also the variations between only 3 classes, whereas before we did it throughout 9 professions, which is ridiculous. Overachieving? More like very insecure, and perfectionism is definitely a shield to shelter the vulnerable. But triggered as we might be, we grind through these 4 legendaries, and then we get back into practicing benchmarks, and hopefully just being a DPS main. I don't think I want to overachieve and play support. I played enough support. Chrono Jail was a very enjoyable time for me. It really was. But Mesmer simply is not in the same place that it was in, and it's a lot easier to play support now than it used to be. And so I guess our experience with Firebrand won't really prevail as much. We will be tanking, if we tank, on the light classes. Mesmer, Elementalist, and Necro. Necro is becoming my 3rd main. 3rd main character. I hear a lot of negative things about the Necro. Why? Why is this? Why is the Necro such a meme? I don't know. I'm also looking forward to Spear. We're going to be doing a series on YouTube, so we've been uploading a video every day for the past month or so. And it's because of a challenge. Challenge accepted. We will be uploading a video every single day for a year. And if we skip a day, we double up the next day. Good buddy, challenge accepted, much further along than myself and CC. So... streaming raids or streaming World vs. World has always been something that I routed the audio for. I always just split the audio and made sure that, you know, as much as I can avoid drama. We do avoid drama. But it's also really cool to have a static or to have a group that is, you know, persistent in allowing me to stream the content, because it's content, it makes itself. Some people stream and they have music in the background and that's the content. I harp on that a lot because it's like cheating, but as a songwriter, of course I would complain about that. Right, right. Thanks for chipping in. Thanks for pitching in. Thanks for pitching in. But when it comes to Guild Wars, which is relatively a dead game that doesn't have a lot of viewership, raids, PvP, World vs. World are the most, like, they're the top tier of streaming content. And that content makes itself if I can find myself into a group that doesn't mind being streamed. Which is a heavy lift, but at the same time, my personality is not for everybody. So hopefully you find a good spot where people don't mind, and it's good because in, you know, elite circles that want to improve, the best way to do that is VOD review. Like, full stop. There is no better way to improve at an elite capacity than to subject oneself to scrutiny from other elite players. And this doesn't just apply to games. It applies to music as well. Where to next? And so we're looking to, like, move that along and carry that forward as we grind back into a comfortable position of being able to flex in raids, but also, like, pulling the reins back a little bit and not flexing and overachieving. We're just going to be playing light classes. That way we have the functionality of flex across both accounts. Where's also? Come back here. RIBA 4444. Let's go. How's this bull doing? Pack's pretty healthy. Packed bull. Choya energy. Big Choya vibes. Hello. It's funny that all I really care about is dungeons at this point, besides raids. I had the worst experience in dungeons and in raids early on. Like, with me being a super scrub, not being able to like have a comprehension of meta or parsing or whatever that might look like. Like, we were essentially Barebow Ranger getting kicked from dungeons outside of less experienced groups. And then at some point, I fell in love with dungeons once I realized they can be parsed just solo. And so doing that, and understanding that there's a community behind that, is quite exciting. Something I'm very enthusiastic. And it's not just something I'm enthusiastic about, but it requires a higher APM. And I think any content in any game that I play that has a higher APM is essentially, as long as I don't have a skill issue with it, will make the game more enjoyable. And that's what we're looking to do in the end game. We're looking to enhance our gaming experience. And in order to do that, we have to try a little bit harder than we have been, because the game gets boring. The game gets boring because we played enough of the game. I don't know how many hours we have logged in Guild Wars, but it's quite a bit. And so exploring new avenues of challenge and keeping a positive mental attitude is fundamental to our growth and enjoyment in the endgame. Raids, returning to raids. Game hard, but thinking caps on and get good. So I'm excited to get good once again, I guess. We spent so much time grinding. And I don't mind a good grind because, like, who doesn't, right? Life is a grind, I guess. But I'm also looking in fact, you know, to fashion. Fashion in Warframe and Guild Wars is something I've been avoiding for so long. And the only reason why I'm grinding out 4 legendaries, the same legendaries I have on my main, on my alt account, is because of fashion. Is because I get to copy the original fashion that I fell in love with on my Ellie. And so immortalizing that look on the alt account and being able to like spam through it with full clears of raids is the objective. That's a heavy lofty pursuit. Well, I used to full clear raids twice in the statics that I was in, and 3 X packs later we are overwhelmed, overburdened by work with Guild Wars. I have not given up. We don't give up. We lost a fortress. That's not good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place markers instead of the hearts. Well, not hearts, but symbols above the heads of the NPCs. So in this way, we can keep better track of it. Ember. Ember's kind of like 7, I think, maybe? Something like this. Actually. Alright. So we'll keep a marker here. Hopefully people can see the marker and continue to rotate. It's hard to appreciate people that just like AFK on, you know, RIBA. But if you're going to AFK on RIBA, do it on POIs. And then you do it on POIs. It makes life a lot easier. Because there's always somebody to protect. And it's easy to follow the commander, but sometimes I like to AFK on the POI and just make sure that it's secured. Because in that case, all we really need is like 4 people. Protecting it and getting it to the point where it's held is the tough part. Protecting it is not so difficult.
Backup. I need some backup.
So now we'll do this. Which one is this? Which POI is this? Red? Okay. No problem. Another thing too is in phasing, these symbols above the NPC heads disappear. Yeah, game can be hard, game can be easy. Grinding is great. Why would I do these legendaries twice? It's because I set myself up for this ambition long ago. And never have I ever played a MOBA before Guild Wars. Or sorry, MMORPG. And I didn't expect there to be multiple X-Packs that would come out during my hiatus. Like, crippling my ambition, essentially. Thanks for pitching in.
Now this is a fight.
Who's got my back? Really need some help here.
Noted.
Flooded. Invigorating.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, dungeons, terrible experience. I just wanted to play heals, and I wasn't able to play heals, and that felt bad. Which is this? What is this? Blue? Okay. Very easy. Keep it going. And because healing... Ooh, there was something that I didn't change my YOLO mouse towards. Was it a boulder? I wonder what that was. And then in raids, I got kicked for not knowing mechanics on Sabbatha. And so, like, raids are big hard, and I can understand why it's very underpopulated. But it is one of my favorite things to do in the game. I have just about, well, I have somewhere around 1,000 clears in raids. Raids are still fun because raids are hard. If they weren't hard, they would be a bit boring. Kind of like RIBA can be a bit boring. I'm not the greatest at commanding this, but like, it's not rocket science. Run in circles. Make sure NPCs don't stay in-capped. More or less. Thanks for pitching in. But if I'm going to get back to some sort of optimal experience, optimal enjoyment in Guild Wars, it's going to involve raids. It's going to involve raids and full clears. And raids and full clears back to back was a lot easier before End of Dragons, before Soto, before Janthier Wilds. But because those three things came out after I set myself up to grind these 4 legendaries and mimic and completely copy, actually, the fashion from my original favorite fashion, I am kind of screwed into some sort of hell of a grind. And I've been avoiding it for a while. But then at some point I was like, you know what? It's going to be epic if I do this. So let me do this. And let me get out of the way. And so I've been grinding now for a while since we returned. The same thing applies to Warframe. We want to release content as we theory craft in the endgame, achieving Legend 5. And our endgame is very unique. It's very different than the other players that do content. So these ambitions, plus the expansions or the patches that have been released, have just kind of drowned me in a grind. We haven't given up, but we also don't get to enjoy the games like we used to. We don't have like the frivolous kind of game time to just be soloing a raw or whatever that is gonna look like. So we must grind. We must grind. We must complete these 4 legendaries. We must get those, the Warclaw perks or whatever unlocked, and then the other mounts, etc. that we've missed. It sucks. It sucks, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're not gonna give up. Because apparently progress is perfection. Apparently. Apparently so. 4434? Dangerous. We're almost there. I like it. Looks good. I have a bit of a headache. I've eaten too much junk. I've eaten too much processed food yesterday, I would say. And that processed food has had a negative impact on my body. We should really discipline ourselves so we can eat out more. And I should probably just find the willpower to avoid junk food in the house, which is difficult. I don't buy the junk food, but I definitely eat the junk food. Definitely do. Ah. 4434. Getting close. Protect the bull. Don't bully my bull, bruh. Something I didn't count for is the fact that my favorite fashion, at least the most nostalgic fashion that I have, to the breach, is based on light armor class. And even though all of our characters are Asura, we won't be able to achieve the exact look. I believe that's not true, but I hope it's not true. But I didn't account for that. I was like, I'll just make them all Asura, I'll copy the exact look over. It doesn't matter as much because we only needed to cross, you know, Perfected Envoy for the light class. And that means we only have to do that fashion 3 times within the armory. However, the goal was to have every single character look exactly the same as my original main look, and I didn't factor in that light and medium armor classes might not have the same potential. Once again, I'll have to take a look. I know on my Mesmer is probably the best fashion that I have. It looks very intimidating, and it has a great backstory to it. My 3 favorite fashions, which is on my Mesmer, my Ranger, and on my Elementalist, they all have different backstories. And the fashion's completely different. But that's 2 light classes, 1 medium class. And so the fashion options are different. What I'm wondering is, are the pieces that we're using on the look flexible throughout all classes? Light, medium, heavy. Hey, I'm getting trolled. Put me into the breach. To the breach I go. Oh, nice. Very good. Very good, very good. To the chopper. Let's clear these symbols. Go a 1, a 2, a 3. Thanks so much for joining if you're joining. If not, it's okay. Can't do this without other people. I am a very strong healer, but I deal no damage. My numbie's big low.
Now this is
The groups that I were running in raids were like top 2% raiders, and I always felt like such a scrub, and I never really gave myself too much credit. But in actuality, looking back, like, we kind of go hard a little bit. Like, insecurity towards perfectionism and overachieving is why we went hard, and we're not really there in terms of mental anymore, and so we won't be doing that. But yeah, we kind of go hard. Like, we are boon to any raid group that we join, unless they're world record parsing and like preparing for a tournament, which is okay. I don't have time to practice for a tournament, and I'm too rusty, too scuffed to even consider that. But give me like
ready to rock.
Give me like 3 months and just clearing in a static. The problem is that there's new wings that I have to train and I have to learn. So in order for me to return to raids, I need my Envoy armor, and I need to complete these 4 legendaries: Ad Infinitum, Nevermore, Aurora, and Envoy. Some other things on the agenda is learning the remaining CMs that we missed on our hiatus, which is Silent Surf. Hold up. Dark AI. It's called Dark AI, one of the encounters. I forget which encounter that is and which fractal that is. But wherever that's located, we need that. We need Silent Surf, and we need Lonely Tower. So when we learn those, we can start to build towards another portion of the ambition, which is to... Ooh, what is this? What is happening with this hand? Did you see that? I saw a hand there. Is it because of the ancient? Hold on, let me see. Did I find something else, like a cactus? What did it do? Did it hover the cactus? What brought up the hand? I'm so confused. Oh, to fix it. But yeah, so we have... like, let's make a list here. I haven't done this in a while. We got 14 seconds till the breach. To the breach! So we need Purple Face. Ad Infinitum. Nevermore. Aurora. Envoy. What else? Fusions. I wish they made legendary infusions. What is the total increase to power or condi from +5 infusions. It can't be that much. Can I approximate it with food? But I have to use food anyway. Can we just use buffed food? Anyway, benchmarking is going to be weird. And after all is said and done, there's also a difference between prog and like full clear. And so if we join a group as a sub, we're going to be scuffed unless we train for the encounters that we've been missing. I guess raid training isn't a bad place to be, but at least for wings 1 through 6, I want full clears. Back when we were raiding, like, very consistently, we were in 5 guilds. I removed myself from all the guilds that I was in order to carve my own path, and sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we have to separate ourselves in isolation. Jordan speaks about, Michael Jordan, speaks about improvement in isolation. But once you reach the pinnacle of success, you must become reachable. So, essentially that's what happens in at least the DPS landscape for raids. Like, you have to grind out on the golem and get really good at various DPS models that appropriately match the paradigm of elite contribution per encounter, which is not always going to be your class of choice. You have to like play the flex. And if you're not playing the flex, like, you should at least hit something approximate to the DPS on phase. Or whatever. Skill priority is more important than benchmarking. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think we should join 4 guilds, all of which have raid. Raid training, like raid clears, to varying skill, yeah. To varying degrees of skill. I think that is probably an optimal position. I do want the Ascension on the main, because it's the only legendary back piece that we're missing. But are we ever going to get around to doing that? I don't know. I care so much about dungeons.
Invigorating.
Ammunition. Ammunition. I'm building a kata. Kata.
Blooded.
Spanish is not my first language. Squad chat undefeated. A bloodstone-crazed beast, you say? Are we gonna wipe Vine Wrath? What if it just spawns in the like little arena? That'd be hilarious, actually. Can you imagine? Can you imagine wiping Vine Wrath because a bloodstone beast has appeared? That'd be great. Anyways, I'm talking caca. There's nothing. I mean, signal fire. I want the torch. I want the signal fire. Signal torch. Give me this. Fire. But yeah, if I can be rambling like this, hanging out with other people, and those other people are competent in raids, and we're full clearing weekly, like twice a week, that is content. And that is content that I don't have to use my brain for. Which doesn't make any sense, because doing that is like 20 head? Like, it's really hard to get there, right? But I don't mind. We've been there before, we can do it again. It's just about finding the right people, the right personalities. People that are cool, people that are great. People that try harder, maybe, than the average. And, yeah, a little bit of elitism, a little bit of compassion goes a long way. But ultimately what I want to be doing with my time is, like, dungeons. So let's increase this. So we have solo dungeons. 4 guilds, PVX with reads. What else? This is Celestial Infusion. Let's go! We got this. I think what makes us as annoying as we can be is that we're a little too smart for our own good, perhaps. But what makes it... What also makes it very enjoyable to be around is, like... In a Den of Thieves, you fear less being robbed, right? Because everybody has the potential to backstab, and usually there's some sort of accord. If I get into these statics, and everybody is also making content, or okay with being streamed, or whatever this might be, yeah, there could be drama. Of course there is. There can always be drama, no matter where you go. But also, like, the content will make itself, and everything would just feel very snug and comfortable. And that's what we're looking for. The quality of life in this game for me isn't about the fashion, it isn't about the dungeons. It's about the community. So they're gonna grab Wolf, I'm just gonna kind of meander over here. The thing I wanted to check is whether or not I have shovels. Yes, I have a shovel. Be good. So we clear the remaining 2 champions. Then we get to the chest tray. I feel the same way about competitive. Like, there are some people that I will be able to play competitive Counter-Strike with, and there's some people that I won't be able to play competitive Counter-Strike with. And it's very obvious to me at this point which is which. Some people just kind of hate themselves when they lose, and I can't handle that. Like, I have enough self-hatred for one. For two, it's like, I want to focus on the game. The game is hard. And so in raids, it's a similar thing. It's like, yeah, I need to get good. Yeah, it takes time to do that. But once that's there, everybody just kind of hangs out, enjoys each other's company. And so this is the highest quality of life that I can achieve in the game, at least in the PvE. And then, if we can get snugly into a group like that, then I would be very, very happy to move on to PvP, because it is something that, I mean, I changed my keybinds in order to get into PvP, not to get in the raids. I'll go this way. Let's see here. But we haven't really returned to PvP. PvP's hard. Funny story, actually. I quit the game for a month. Actually, nearly 3 months. I tried to coming back off and on, but it wouldn't work out. And that's because I changed my keybinds to match a player named Lord Helseth. One of, if not the best PvP player in Guild Wars of all time. Based, may I be. This way? Backwards, okay. I don't see it. It must be further over here. Oh, here we go. And then I kind of got swept up into other things. But yeah, the game feels very different when I optimized my keyboard economy. It was like painfully different. And it felt like I had to relearn how to play the game, and that sucked. But I also got great at the game. And so I would love to be able to go back into PvP and see if I can learn Thief. It is my least favorite class. It is the class I play the least. I'll mark these, but I don't have shovels. So if we don't have shovels for these, I will just keep marking them. We're only here for a chest train, but if we don't have a chest train, then we can move on to other things as well. I'm gonna be tagging down pretty soon. I just don't have shovels and nobody's following me. Sometimes this happens. What can be done? We'll leave that alone.
Fired up.
Yeah, I don't mind tagging down. Okay. We'll do as many markers as we can to use up the 8 markers. And if we don't get consistent openings from the players, then we will just tag down and move on to Living World Season 3. A lot to talk about, and me talking is content. And so I'm excited about content, but also if I'm going to be playing this game, I want to be raiding, I want to be soloing or, you know, doing dungeons. And I also want to be doing trains, like world boss trains or bounty trains. CM fractals, kind of boring. Raids without comms, kind of boring. We have a long way to go
6 feet tall.
before we can get back into it, but
I must insist that you wear a haircut.
delayed gratification is something very special. I wish I had more shovels. I have a stack of shovels on the main. Maybe I should do this with the main and then swap back when I need to do a story. With the way things felt prior to End of Dragons, can we buy more shovels? No. This is going to be our last shovel usage here. I just never expected, I could never have expected that the convenience factor of me having an alt account and double full clearing raids would ever come down to like, oh crap, I have double the X packs to do. I just had no frame of reference to that being a thing. It's very difficult. What is the lesson? Don't be so ambitious, I guess. Less is more.
6 feet tall.
I think less is more is the lesson here. Don't do that again.
Flooded. Overflow. Flying off. Rocks and stones will break your bones.
No more shovels. I guess we're done. One more symbol and then I gotta go.
Quite a reward.
I'm only here for the Imperial Fragments, which is kind of hilarious also, because like I just want to keep my inventory clean.
Ready to rock.
Thank you for shovels. Thank you for shovels. Imperial Fragments. That's all I care about. All I care about. Where am I supposed to get Imperial Fragments though? Like, is there another place I can get them? Why do I run out of them so much?
Eye of the storm. Vitality restored. Ready to rock.
Looks like I'm out of shovels. Where did my shovel go? I lost my shovel? Oh, there it is. Okay. Ow. It's not possible for me to continue this. So I go. We go, we go, we go. And it's on to Living World Season 3. I forget which chapter we're on. But we have 2 more episodes to complete before we roll back into the achievements for Aurora. We need the major armor piece, which means we have to do each map's like full mastery achievement setup. GG.
Ready to rock.
Oh. Oh. How much did that hit me for, I wonder?
Need help here.
It doesn't even show up as damage. That's kind of funny, actually. It's so much damage, it doesn't show up as damage. I'm actually just dead here.
Hurts, doesn't it?
Exhilarating.
It's okay, I deserve it. I thought I would be fine, and it must be some kind of like special mechanic. That trap stacks 20 bleeding, and it doesn't show up in the damage log. Oh well. Lesson not learned. I've definitely died to that before. GG!